When was the last time you looked at the world not through the eyes of an adult, but that of a child? I ask because this upcoming week from June 5th until June 13th, we have this beautiful conjunction happening between Venus, the planet of love, harmony, and beauty, and Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, faith, and exploration. And when these two come together, it is all over a magical time. And so I had pulled these cards for the conjunction, the Six of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, and I had written about them in the monthly email, so I had this whole thing planned. But this morning as I was getting ready, the song Pure Imagination by Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory kept coming into my head, and I was just humming along as I was putting my stuff together, and in listening to the song, I realized that must be the message that is coming together today for these cards. So before we dive into the astro details and the explanation of these cards, I just want to read the two verses that I feel like are the most important from the song and I think really connect to the energy of these cards. So the first is, there is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. So that line of, if you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it, really stuck in my head, especially like when looking at the Six of Cups, because the Six of Cups is often associated with nostalgia and our past memories. And you can see in this card how beautiful this Six of Cups is with the pink sky and the irises and the calm water. And it's kind of like that energy of when you look back at a memory through rose-colored glasses, right? Like, you know, maybe you had difficult things in your childhood, and yet there's some specific, let's say, summer day when everything seemed to fall right together. And it's not like, you know, you did anything grand, for example, like it's not even you went to Disneyland. Maybe you just had a really good time with like the neighborhood kids, and yet that summer day sticks in your head, right? And I feel like it's that same energy of the way that we looked at things as a kid. Like, if you've seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory as a child, like, watching that film is pure magic. And I still honestly do think it is. But as an adult, when you see it, there are certain things that you notice, little details, or the way the outfits are, like the special effects that kind of take you out slightly, and so you don't get completely as lost into something. And even like the way that, you know, adults view childhood, the way that we see it in a sense through these rose-colored glasses is like, oh, that was a time where we were so free and, you know, where we were so open to our imagination and creativity and the unknowing, right? And we treasure that part. And yet as adults, we put it onto ourselves to know everything, to do everything so perfectly, instead of that joy of just like discovery and creation that comes through childhood, which is what pairs us into the energy of the Page of Pentacles. Pages are the children of the court cards, and the Page of Pentacles is the earth suit. So you can imagine this page is going to be the most hands-on out of all the pages. They're the ones like in the dirt, in the muck, like touching the plants, wanting to know how things work, not just, you know, wanting to hear it. They are a learner that's like doing it for themselves, right? And when you are a child, you don't have this idea of what perfect is. It's not fully formed yet, right? Like, obviously as a child, right, we emulate the adults around us, but there is still so much unknowing. Like, I think I was watching a reel the other day of somebody who teaches art, and they were talking about the difference when they teach children and when the difference when they teach adults, and asking something as simple as like, draw a dog, right? And a lot of the adults are sitting there like, I'm not going to do it, because they already have this image in their mind of like what a perfect dog should look like versus like the stick figure that they're going to draw themselves. But the thing is, in wanting to be perfect right away, you miss this joy of discovery, of trying, right? Like, there is such a difference between going to the store and, let's say, buying a box of cherry tomatoes versus like actually taking the time to grow those seeds. And let's say out of like 20 seeds, you only end up getting like one little cherry tomato. Still, that cherry tomato is sweeter than anything that you could have ever bought, right? And there's such a joy in that of just like, okay, I put something together and I tried it and here's what came out, even if it's not perfect. And so I really feel like that is the message of these two cards coming together, is just trying and having that childlike joy of discovery of like, I've also seen something about how there are some artists where they talk about they get their skill to a certain level where they're drawing something beautiful, and yet to go back and try to purposely draw something quote unquote bad, because there is a lot of bad art out there that people really enjoy and think is fun and cute, but to go back into that childlike way of drawing is really difficult, right? It's like, jazz artists and how they improvise, right? Like everything is an improvisation. Everything is an improvisation when you are a child because you don't know, right? And the same thing is like when you are an adult, when you are learning a language, there's just so much that you don't know. And in the beginning, maybe you're okay with making those mistakes, but you're 2 or 3, you're like, I should be perfect by now. And by wanting perfection instead of discovery, instead of emotional connection, right? You shut yourself down. You shut down that inner child. So I'm going to go into this a little bit more, but let's hit some astro details. So you can see in the chart here that the actual conjunction, which is basically just means that the two planets are going to be the same degree at the same time, matching right up, takes place on June 9th at 2:59 EST. And Venus and Jupiter will both be at 25 degrees and 46 minutes of Cancer. But like I said, we're going to be feeling this energy. There's going to be about 3 degrees of separation from June 5th to June 13th. Now for a brief word from today's sponsor, me. I just wanted to quickly remind y'all that I do tarot and astrology readings online as well. So you can get anything from a birth chart reading to a love reading, something about career, whatever your fancy. I also do combination readings as well, which I really enjoy doing. So you can find all my offerings at byjovastrology.com. And now back to the video. Now, because both Jupiter and Venus are in Cancer, let's take a moment to talk about Cancer energy. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and so it's a very emotional, intuitive sign that is deeply connected to one's childhood, home, and family. And so with these cards and this transit, there's a lot of this cozy energy connected to it, right? And so your imagination should be a place that you feel safe in, right? That you feel like your home inside of, right? And now if that's not something that you were allotted as a child, now is the time that you get to explore all of that over again, right? And pulling back to this Page of Pentacles energy of, okay, go buy some Play-Doh, go get a box of chalk, like whatever you decide to play with and explore during this time period, definitely have the supplies be cheap or, from the thrift shop or something, so that there's not a high stakes energy in what you're doing with it, right? But coming back to the Cancer energy can be your family, but it's also the people that you choose as part of your family, or you choose to be part of your clan. Like the image that came into my mind for this transit and for these cards is like a secret clubhouse, right? That you're only inviting certain people in to hang out and play with, right? So this transit is not just about you exploring, the depths of your imagination solo. No, like do this with, a bestie, with your sibling, like even maybe bringing your parents into the mix, right? Like loosening them up a bit of just having fun. I think that the big part and the line that I wrote for the Venus-Jupiter conjunction and the month of June, indulge yourself the way you would a child. Let yourself enjoy the messiness of learning how to do something, right? And again, with your friends, with your besties, with your family, like this is an invitation to have fun. just to have fun and to play and to explore. The only downside I will say with Venus and Jupiter coming together is they're definitely like the more is better. And that's why I talked about buying the cheap supplies or being creative with what you have. Like as a kid, a sock puppet is like literally a sock. Like you could have a stick and that's a magic wand, a rock, could be a penguin's egg. Like there's so many things you can do with what you already have. So actually, you know what? You don't need to buy anything. Use what you have to have fun. And I think this is a lovely transit. We got a lot of big things happening in July, and I really wanted to share this with you guys. So let me know how this time period from June 5th to June 13th goes, and definitely plan for it because, as a kid, our parents plan their activities, but as adults, we need to set the time for ourselves to do it. So anyways, write down in the comments, let me know what you thought of this reading. Let me know what you plan for June or how it ends up going.